Hi guys, Serinda here. I got top 32 at this year's Vegas Nats for Digimon playing Crossheart. It's been a really long time since I've been at Nats, and I've never done this well, let alone on a deck that I feel is really underrepresented in the meta. So I'm really excited to make this video, go over the deck list, reason behind the choices, matchups, and I don't know, maybe inspire some future Crossheart players. All right, now for the deck profile, card by card. So I'm playing 4 of the yellow Pikmin and 1 of the red one. I'm only playing 5 just because I'm running Uko, as you'll see later in this list, and there are games where I actually do cycle through everything. A lot of people would say that if I'm playing Uko, I would want to bump up more of the red egg, and I have tested it at 2-3 ratio, but the yellow egg is just so much better. I mean, there are so many times where you don't have a tamer, and those are the times when you really need to draw to find it. So I think that yellow Pikmin is 100% the better one. I could see a case for the red one if you're playing a lot of Raptor Sparrow or cards that, you know, really need something under our tamer. But for this deck, I feel like it's really just Omni Shout if you're warping, and Shooting Star for your EX6 on play. Those are the only ones you really care about under the tamer. And if you're drawing them and you're playing your tamers, you will see them enough. So those are my eggs. Let's see. Then for the rookies, we obviously have 4 of the best rookie in the deck. You know, never playing less than 4 of this guy. Warps, on deletion plays the tamer. I do hate when I swing with him and he draws me the tamer that I wanted him to play when he dies, but you know, that's the price you pay for being the best card. Then 3 of the cost reduction rookie. I really don't care too much about this guy. I mean, he's nice. Sometimes you evo into like Raptor for 1 and you get a search, and that's cute. But more often than not, I just have him here to max out for rush names for cross, or rush inherits for crossing with the new Omni. So I feel like this is the most cuttable card. When I was testing other things, I would cut him down to 3, but I feel like 10 rookies is really the minimum I can get before I start screwing myself over. And then the last 2 ones are Uko, which honestly is the second best rookie in the deck. I can't play more than 2 just because then I get into consistency issues when I'm like searching Crossheart names, or if I have non-Crossheart Digimon in hand that I need to tuck to draw one and gain memory. That's really important. So I feel like 2 is this sweet spot where it's like, this is a card I want to see in my opening hand if I can. Having it 2 will let me see it often enough that it's okay. But like running it at 1 isn't worth it at all, because the chance of seeing it in your opener is like so low even after mulligan. And I don't know, this card, it helps you push damage, evolving multiple rookies and swinging multiple times, like turn after turn after turn. It puts that pressure on your opponent, because this is a deck that has a lot of really nice lethal lines that are super flexible. And so getting that early chip in matches that you can spare it and you're not too worried about, you know, something crazy coming out of security and like setting up your opponent for the rest of the game, this card is really nice. It's also really good for, like, you know, my opponent setting up, I'm totally okay with just like leaving the Uko and then just outvaluing them every single turn by promote, play a tamer, promote, search, play a tamer. And I'll just kill you from 5. All the cards that you needed were in security, clearly, and I'm not gonna let you get a chance to use them. Ukomon is just really, really good. A lot of people, I'm sure, are playing Sparrowmon in some of these slots, and obviously I played it when it was a thing. Before this Shoutmon came out, I was playing 4/4 and then 2 Ukos, but the search is really cute, but like, I hate swinging with collision. It used to be really good because in our older formats, a lot of people are playing floodgates, and this deck, despite, you know, not really liking play cost reduction floodgates, we had a bajillion ways to deal with it by either like collisioning with Uko or warping into the older Omni Shout that just kills 2 floodgates. As you'll see later in this build, like it's more streamlined for games where I'm not really seeing floodgates. I didn't see a single floodgate in my entire run at Nats, and I saw one at, I saw only one in the regional that got me my invite, which was like Pilomon and Maste. And even then, we have ways to get around Pilomon by just like playing the EX6, swinging first, getting the one attacking to pop it, and then activating the on play before the full attack resolves. So yeah, we don't really care about that floodgate anymore. And against the current meta, all of them are dying. So I use that fact to basically streamline this into a greedier build and like made it a lot more efficient. But yeah, Raptor or Sparrowmon, it feels nice to get a search for free, but like I always want those checks to be hit in your face. There's no like small bodies that I really benefit from killing with collision, I feel, this set, or even in the current one with the new Liberator stuff. So this is what I really like. I would definitely change out Shoutmon for a better rookie. I honestly never really tried the old 4-cost Searcher Shoutmon, which is a really good search and has Russian Inherit, but like, but it only has Russian Inherit for Shoutmon in name. So that's also why, and you know, playing 4 for something that isn't this guy just kind of scares me. So we didn't really go for that one. All right, for the rest, or like the middle, for the 4s, you know, I cut Raptor to 3. It's really important to have the purple source to get your 6K, but I'm not running Sparrowmon. I very rarely evolve over Shoutmon. This is just like fodder to go under EX6 for me. And if I'm playing a piece for EX6, I am not running less than 3. So keeping it 3. Also very standard to just go 3 for Shooting Star. For the pieces. For my level 5, for my Omnis, I'm running 4 of the new one that loops and only 1 of the old one that kills 2 bodies. I wanted to have 5 names. I would rather have 5 names of this and 3 Raptors, just to make sure that I'm always having rush, even if I'm making like a suboptimal stack. And this is like the, you know, optimization I'm playing because I don't really care too much about floodgates. No one's really playing them. I can be greedy and just run max out on Omnis. And I know that, I feel like this isn't like a really novel thing. I feel like a lot of people were already maxing out on this, but it's bigger for me because when I first started playing this deck in the beginning, my whole philosophy was like, I'm never losing to floodgates. I'm always gonna have at least 2 of this guy, so that people think that they can just, you know, slam a floodgate down and then just like win the game. Then I just like, you know, pop that out, kill them, and they're like, oh, what the hell? I didn't know that was possible. And then for the other 2 5 names for EX6, you know, 3 Alter, 3 Jaeger. These are like so good. Jaeger obviously comes up way more than Alter, but like I love using Alter in the Omnion matchup. I love playing EX6, playing out the Shooting Star, evoing the Alter to give my guy bounce and bottom deck protection, and then clearing their board. You know, let them do their delay option, the Mega Knight, pop out the Omni, and it's like, oh, well, you can't bottom deck me, and now I'm going to, you know, collision into you. I know they do also have like deletion, but I believe it is, for some of them, it's on when attacking. So this really helps in the Omni matchup. I didn't see it there. I have seen it in other regionals because Omni is usually giving you that luxury to go into EX6 and then spend the 3 memory to evolve this. So that's really nice. Jaeger is amazing. I love stunning stuff. And especially in like this meta with TS, I don't care that I'm passing you 5 memory because, you know, I'm turning off all of your like 4 or less effects, especially Homeros. I mean, obviously, yeah, dude, like the deck that's weakness is giving it 5 memory is still gonna do stuff, but being able to stun, no digi effects, no one suspends, it really, really, really is nice. And then for the level 6s, I used to be running 2 new DX, 1 old DX because I like that it's searchable. But I don't know, I was going back on like a conversation I had with my friend Cygnus from Jax, and I think he said to run 1-1-1, and I really like that because we have 2 that are searchable because these 2 are crossheart. We have 2 that are blue for our 6K, 2 that are savable because this is always treated as Zeeg. This is only treated as Zeeg for Digicross, so you can't material save it from EX6 if it dies. So these 2 are savable. And then also these 2 will work with our secret level 7 Valder and activate its partition, which is always, always, always really nice to have just as a backup plan. So that's the idea behind this like 1-1-1 split. Obviously, I think these are all going to be replaced in 81 when we have the new Z Gray that, thank God, has a crossheart rule box. But I was really, really happy with this set. I always saw one of the pieces that I needed at all times during the game, and I would never go back. Like, if Zeeg wasn't revealed, I would never go back to 2 DX and cutting out Zeeg entirely. This card, Zeeg, definitely pissed me off a ton when I'm like bottom decking it before we got the newer cards, but this I really, really like. And then obviously, I mean, for EX6, I mean, never going down. Like the weakness of this deck was running out of copies or never seeing them. With the new Tamer, that really is mitigated a ton, but yeah, always for this guy. Always want to see him, most important. I mean, that's what the deck is built around, right? And then 2 Valder arm. Valder is huge. I was actually having some discussion beforehand of like cutting it out maybe for some more aggression cards, but then I just decided to keep it, and it really helped. Came up a ton. The amount of times I'm able to just sit on Valder, you can't do anything, and next turn I either get 2 checks, or if you want to pop it, I get both of these back. And I have a Tamer that can interact with this if you pop it on your turn as well. It's too good. In all honesty, it's so good that I'm a little sad that I'm going to replace him with X7 in 81. And I'll honestly still try and see if I can keep him in as like maybe a 1 of, because it just came up that much this format. So I'll always consider Valder for this build. And then now we just have the Tamers. So best Tamer in the deck, new Taiki that lets you swing. It's so good. I'm never going down from 4. Like, I could even play the game sometimes by just having this and no cross Tamer. I'll just keep tucking shooting stars underneath and I can just cross from hand kill you and no one expects it. So phenomenal, exactly what we needed. Helps us get around stuff like Medieval Gallant is no longer an issue thanks to this card. A lot of cool sequencing stuff where you can play something, swing with this, get your one attacking, pop something, do your own plays. It's really, really, really good. This was honestly the change that surprised even me the most when I did it and it still worked, was going down to 3 Searcher Taikis. I thought this was like, I mean, it's a phenomenal card, right? Like, check top 4, tuck something, draw 1, or add 1 to hand. It is just crazy. But in making space for the new Tamer, Katone, I don't know, it was like, I have so much draw, I'm supplementing it with another draw Tamer. Obviously it's not top 4 like Search, but the value that the new Tamer gives us, it was just too good. I had to run it too, and this guy actually ended up being one of the cuts for it. And to be honest, deck worked perfectly fine. We have a lot of consistency still, and I always saw it when I needed it. I'd rather see multiples of Taiki and like develop it so I know I can start my turn with more memory on my next turn than play this and get like some searches, because honestly, like, we can do a lot from one memory, but choking to one still really sucks. I love the draw one, gain one. I love the like cost reduction from the new Tamer. And yeah, this one just surprisingly ended up being cut a little bit, but it was perfectly fine. And then new Tamer, Kotone, phenomenal. Lets us play EX6 for free, gives us the recovery that we need when my EX6 gets popped. I can now just EX6 you every single turn after this, even though you deal with it every turn. The fact that it draws on play is crazy, and it was just really nice. I mean, like, it pushes the lethal ceiling of this deck for like low memory like crazy. So I really wanted to get 3 of these, but I mean, I have 3 of them, but I just couldn't fit them in the deck. I felt like I was sacrificing too much on other areas, and I was, even though this is a draw card, I was just lacking consistency. And then for the last 2 Tamers, we have 1 triple and 1 mem setter. This used to be another triple, and I went back and forth on this so much, like through playing all the regionals. In my regionals topping list, I didn't have this guy. I just ran more of a triple Tamer. Because I don't know, there were like so many times where it's like, man, my hand's bricked. I drew Taiki, I slam it, and I was like, okay, well, I get 3 memory next turn, but I don't get anything else. But I don't know why I just put it back. And then there were so many instances as soon as I put it back where my opponent was like, oh, that's the mem setter. This is annoying now. I can't just choke you. I was even discussing at my locals where it's like, well, maybe you don't even need a mem setter because TS is going to put you 3 memory anyways. They want to play the option for free, which is true. But like, even through that, this put in a lot of work. My other justification was, I'm playing 2 Valder Arm, I'm probably going to see it. This is the only Tamer that lets you cross on all turns. When your Valder gets popped and you're playing out your EX6, you can only use this Tamer to use sources from underneath. I never actually did that this tournament because I wanted to keep the sources in my hand, and the DX just popping something was enough to deal with the board, and I didn't feel like committing resources for like Walmart Ruin mode. But I always had the option, and that actually felt nice. So, and you know, just like starting at 3, gain 1, gain 1, gain 1, gain 1, gain 1, like reduced by 1. It's just so much memory. And in testing with these Tamers, I'm playing 1 more than I used to, because without this one, there are a lot of times where your hand is like Ukos, Valders, options that you're holding in your hand. And it's like, I have so many ways to draw, but I don't have the cards to tuck. Because this card can grab stuff from trash and still draw when you're like that, that helps. But I just love being able to start from 3 without having to like invest anything from my hand. It came up a ton in this tournament. I'm really happy he's here. The option's really simple, you know, 2 Meteor Rock Soul and 1 of the new option, Can't Turn My Back. Can't Turn My Back was the MVP in my last round of Nats. Came up so much. And then, I mean, Meteor Rock Soul is just, it's so good. If I could run more copies of these, I really would. They're both so good. I love neg 12ing my opponent. I love just like getting a billion checks out of nowhere. But to me, looking at this list, it's just so hard to like make space. Everything feels like just like so delicately balanced. The I don't know. This is just unfortunately how many I can play with. I do play a ton of tamers, and for that it's just like I know my opponent's playing aggressive. All the TS decks are so aggressive, you know, just shit out Jet Selfie, swing you 2 checks, Evo, swing something. And the way I win those matchups is when they just play aggressive and they check into my insane tamer ratios and just give me a bunch of stuff for free. It's the reason that I can't really fit in Luminamon, which I heavily considered as a good consistency piece, establishing bodies, searching, playing a tamer. But to put that in, I have to cut down on these. And the problem is I don't normally have those free turns that I can just play it. I just need to go. And in a matchup that's like so hyper aggressive, like having the tamers at this level, it just helps you so much when you're able to see them in security. It's like, it's not crazy to just bank on them being security because you run so many. But yeah, this is the card by card for my list. Now I'm gonna go into the matchups. So round 1, I played against TS Abyss. I did 1 win, 1 loss, 1 tie. Game 1 was pretty long, took more than half of the time, but I was able to grind out the win. Game 2, he basically just saw his line and OTK'd me. And then game 3, we started with like only a couple minutes left. I wasn't gonna be able to win. When we got into time, I had 1 turn left and he had 1 turn left. So I was able to deal with his board, wipe out his small bodies, sec minus his 1 guy and pop the other. And during my turn, time was called. He did say he had Maruki in hand for game, but he had no dual tamer on board to actually attack face, so that was a tie. Got out of it feeling pretty good for going up against TS and at least tying. Game 2, I played against Sakuya, which is a matchup that I've practiced a decent amount, especially like for my locals. Shout out player Marcos. It's a matchup I'm fairly comfortable with, especially if they're playing the OTK style with Sakuya X. It's a little harder for them to get going sometimes, and I played it pretty chill, made sure not to chip early when they didn't have a tamer on board so they couldn't use the plugin options, and it was a pretty like easy 2-0 for me. Round 3, I played against TS Abyss again. This was the only time I really misplayed this whole tournament. Basically, we got to a game state in game 1 where all of my crossing tamers were stunned, but I top decked the 3-cost Taiki, which lets me cross. And so in my head, I was thinking like, okay, I will use my Katoni on board, tuck a rookie underneath, play the Shoutmon, or play the Taiki Tamer so I can cross for the turn, and then cross, then go into like Meteor Rock Soul and start looping. But then I got to a part of my combo where I played Meteor Rock Soul and I only had the cost reduction rookie, and at that point I was like, I just skipped a bunch of steps in my head, and it was like, it was just terrible. I played out the cost reduction rookie, couldn't do anything there. Then I tried to cross and my opponent's like, I stunned both of those. I was like, no, I just played this one this turn, and then I look at my hand and there's the card that I should have played this turn off of the loop. So that was really unfortunate. I was just like, I just screwed this up too much. We gotta go next. And then game 2, I just bricked and they saw the line and OTK'd me. So definitely solo lost game 1 in that matchup. Game 2 I had no chance, but it felt like I still had a decent chance to take that matchup. Then round 4 I played against Gallant, which is Still a scary matchup sometimes because they can OTK you, but I'm very comfortable on this matchup because all you need to do is just leave out a few pieces of your EX6, pass memory, swing with the tamer. They have no protection, so their Gallon X on board is never really like something you can't handle as long as you just have a crossing tamer and the attacking tamer. So this game, or both of the games, I played it pretty slow while he was finding pieces, made sure not to chip early so they don't get any extra mem boosts or trainings or anything. And then I only committed whenever I needed to deal with Gallon X on board, and then I just chilled and OTK'd. I also made sure to leave a bunch of bodies on board for him to kill, just so he doesn't get the warp or sec +1 and extra aggression. And I mean, I don't care if they die. Obviously he gets memory back, but I just get to save everything. So it was, matchup I was very familiar with, easy 2-0. Then I played against TS again, which was the Central Town version, like more Maruki focused. So first game, he just like kind of popped off and killed me while I was like trying to clear his board. And then I realized that he wasn't playing Abyss option, he was playing Central Town option, and it was like, wait, none of your guys have blocker unless you have Minerva on board. He's like, no. I was like, okay, I just like shout looped him twice and I got those games pretty easily. Obviously, it would have been harder if he saw Minerva, but honestly, Minerva isn't that bad for cross, just because like I don't care if you de-digivolve me mid-swing, because I can either end on Omni Shout and then end of attack start looping, or I end on D-cross with the sec +1 and then I get extra check. So it's really not that bad because most of the time your EX6 is clearing their little bodies, so you don't get to be digivolved more than like twice. I will say that Homeros is really annoying with a +1k, and also specifically the Central Town plus I want to say 2000 DP is also really annoying for those thresholds. But I mean, they don't have blocker, so we just kill. Then I played against Jupiter in round 6. And this one was really sad. I feel like out of the TS decks, Jupiter is one of my like more even matchups. Like talked a lot about this at my locals and played against my friend Derek just to practice like right before Nats. And it really seems it's like another one of those decks where obviously during the Jupiter combo they're gonna go down on security. So early chip doesn't really matter that much. And then they don't really have any like defensive like blocker or anything just on the Jupiter, so I can just sneak a win by you by like going for face. But I just like bricked so badly, and like game 1 like he dropped a Gallant on me, or not, yeah, medieval Gallant on me, which really doesn't matter that much because we have Taiki to on play swing pop it before you get like the tap and delete my guy. But I just like wasn't at a board state where I could do anything about it so early, and I wasn't seeing my tamers. So both games, I just bricked super hard, like with and without the medieval on board. It was just so bad, and I just like, there's nothing I could really do about it, honestly. It was just like, shuffle diff. And then round 7, this is actually like my scariest matchup because I was playing my friend from Tampa, Silvermoon. He's a very good Master player, and whenever the pairings get put up and I see him not sitting across from me, I'm like breathing a sigh of relief because I know he is a really good Mastermon player. Mastermon is a really tough matchup for cross. I do have like some text that I've added into the deck just to like make it a little bit easier. So I fortunately was able to 2-0 him. He was whiffing like Patamon's insecurity, which really helped me out. But to be fair, like every time I was chipping him early, I was giving him a tamer. It really felt like in both games, it felt like he had more tamers on board than me, or at least equal. So it was like really, really scary playing this matchup. But my advice for the Mastermon matchup is you want to establish 2 copies of a tamer that lets you cross and 2 copies of a tamer that lets you attack. Just so that even if they bottom, or even if they put one of your guys into security, you always have the option to slam EX6, swing, and like deal with the board. And then the other thing is having 6k DP minus is like super important in this matchup, obviously, because you can swing into Partition Maste and then the Lady Deviant and Jobelmon just die instantly without like screwing with your board. So I bumped up to make sure I have 2 blue level 6s in this deck, so I'm hitting 6k more consistently. It didn't come up in both of the games, but it definitely did help in that matchup. And then finally after that, my last round was again TS, another Jupiter player, and this one was definitely leaning more into the Venusmon, like old Venusmon stun. You know, sec minus on the board, no digivolving or attacking effects. So it was actually kind of nice because I knew that whenever they ended Venusmon and like past turn, that's like another turn I can just chill and set up. I don't really care. So you go to a Venusmon, okay, I just chill, set up Tamer, draw whatever, and then set up into another one. I'm like, okay, on my turn, slam EX6, minus 6k. New option, bring all the sources back, slam another, minus 6k. Both of them die instantly because they can't get buffed from Homeros, and then I just win the game by checking with Alliance, so I'm still doing 1 damage every time. So that was like a pretty chill game 1, and then after that, my opponent was like, okay, go into Venus with the Homeros and double the effect, so I'm definitely not dying on this turn because I can get over like 3 checks unless like weird D-Digivolve shenanigans with D-Cross. And I just did the same play again, neg 12 his whole board, and I have 2 EX6s on the field. He only has a Homeros remaining, so I'm like, all right, we'll DNA them into Volder, gain a fuck ton of memory, tap the Homeros, his whole board's stunned, and then I just like played something to choke him at 1, and I mean, his turn, draws, gains 1 from the Homeros, can't do anything, can't on-play, can't unsuspend, and then he just scoops. So that was like a very, very chill matchup. It was like it felt like a TS deck that was more teched to do well in the mirror, but like I do not care about old Venusmon. We just kill him. It was pretty good. And yeah, so from that run, just barely got top 32. It really didn't feel like, at least for me, it doesn't feel like Cross in that specific meta was like, it's like the genius call or anything. It feels like a lot of the other rogue decks, like, I don't know, like Machine Dramon. Like while watching my friend on Machine Dramon, also top 32, avid herpetologist, I could see him playing against TS players and they're just like, I can't do anything because he's unblockable and he'll just kill me. And it seems like, okay, that deck is like teched for this matchup. But for me, like Cross, it's just like, I just go for consistency. I know I have some good matchups into a few things like Royal Knights, like Gallant, which kind of got pushed out a little bit this format, which was really unfortunate for me. But I feel like the consistency, the ability to hide behind Tamers, and the way we can like really uniquely push a lot of damage in a turn is what really helps us. I mean, just generally, obviously, but like it's what helped me like secure those wins. I do think that like in the upcoming meta, it's also a little rough having to deal with Vortex, but fortunately, I have some ideas. As soon as I get my hands on those new cards in 81, like the new Zeeg, new X7, I think I have a good idea of how to beat that matchup now. So it's not completely cooked. And of course, as soon as the ban list comes out, I mean, what are they gonna hit from Cross? No one's playing this deck, so we're fine. They're gonna hit something from Pity, maybe hit something from TS if they're feeling spicy. And I think that this deck will remain like a really solid pick, especially, you know, if we get some stuff, hoping for maybe a Tamer in 81, like left in the reveals. But yeah, that's basically the whole matchups rundown for my Nats run. All right, and now for the end of the video, where I just want to shout out a bunch of my friends for, you know, helping me make it this far. First off, the Jack scene for Digimon, like all the guys in Cool Stuff Jacks and Casual Heroes. It was really fun going to Vegas with them, with Matt, Tree, and Raymond. Thank you, Raymond, for not matching against me in tournament and screwing over my record like you do in like every other regional besides the one that we all got in to Nats in. It was a blast, and I love hanging out with those guys, playing whenever I get a vacation and go back home. For all the guys down in Tampa, the only other time I went to Nats, they took me and let me hang out with them, be in their Airbnb together, and it was a blast. Like I made so many like longtime friends from there. I don't visit Tampa as much as I can or as much as I should, but always make a point to try and see them when I'm down there. And then my current locals in Orlando, which I kind of discovered a little late, but I'm there at Haven Games every Wednesday. They were basically my training for Nats, like super competitive locals. I was able to basically see a little bit of everything, like tech my like deck over the months, just to get ready for this kind of thing. And then also my close friend group at my lab. Thanks to you guys for supporting me, helping me get to locals, let me borrow cars, like anything to help me facilitate this hobby, and just cheering me from back home. It's really nice. It makes me really excited, like come back to you guys after going out on these things and having a good time. For deck building, just really love talking to like cross players, like anywhere, like anyone that's just touched the deck, just to see like what tech choices you're running. Had a lot of discussion with Cygnus, a lot of arguments over which ratios are better for rookies and sixes. Let's see. Shout out to Ash, who was willing to give me the Luminamons out of his own deck just for me to test it. But I was able to play against him with it and figure out like whether I needed it or not for my current build. Also another Lumina merchant, Lord of Monkey, that I know through my old Digimon mentor who's abandoned the game, a Burning Falcon. Shout out to you both for just general deck discussions and building and things like that. And then I feel like the most important shout outs I have are for the ones that like kept me playing cross. First of all, Haas, who's made multiple claims that this deck is my soul deck, and I have tried and complained to like have that not be the case and switch to something else, but it just keeps coming back to this. And then my boy Josh, or Helmet in Tampa, he was part of the Gen Con group that I went to and unsuccessfully tried to get my invite at the regional there on Purple Hybrid. And then after just like testing him with Cross, and I took it to Ulti Cup, I was able to top there with it, and he was like, dude, like you need to just play this. And I was like, man, maybe you're right, maybe you're right, And then Ifty, that I know from Orlando and my lab friends, he loves talking about like the dance that is Crossheart and like in the gameplay, and it's just the deck for me, and you're right, it was the deck for me. And my like newest friend Derek from the Orlando scene at Haven, in one of the earlier regionals at Cool Stuff South Orlando, where I was trying to get my invite, and I didn't get it there obviously, but there was a huge break in the competition because they screwed up the tournament software. And we were waiting, and it's like, okay, this is going to take at least 30 minutes. So I asked him if he wanted to do some playtesting. He was like, yeah, sure, we got time. He was on Hoodie. And then I wanted to test out rocks because my plan for this regional was like, I still have like 1 or 2 left in the season. If I can't get it with Cross, I wanted to give Cross like an honest try. And if I couldn't get it, I would just switch to rocks. And the moment I like flipped my egg and started playing, he was like, what is this? It's like, it's rocks. I wanna practice this. It's like, get that out of here, man. Just play Cross, learn the matchup. It's like, dude, I'm gonna switch over to this after this tournament. It's like, no, man, just learn the matchup. I was like, fine. Stuck with Cross, and I didn't do well because Raymond matched me in bracket and knocked me down, ruined my record. But I don't know, it's just like all you guys just like telling me to stick with this. It helped. I mean, clearly it helped. So thank you guys for, believing in me to push this deck to what feels like its limits and do well at Nats. I really couldn't have done it without you guys. So thank you. And that's all for the video. I don't really know if I plan on making any more content after this. Like, I guess if I do well, I'll make a video again. There were a lot of changes from the versus regional list that got me my qualification, so I'm always like trying to optimize it. I feel like for this format, I don't think there's much more that I can do, but when the new cards come out, I'll be testing them, and who knows, maybe you'll see me sooner than you think. So thanks for watching.